Minister of Labour and Employment, Maigari Dingyadi, says Nigeria is expanding bilateral labour agreements with countries that regularly recruit Nigerian workers as part of measures to ensure dignified and lawful work conditions. Dingyadi, who spoke at the second edition of Labour Correspondents Association of Nigeria, LACAN annual conference, said the federal government was taking measures to ensure fair migration by Nigerians seeking jobs abroad under safe, dignified and lawful conditions. Clevy News Imefunokon has the details.
Furthermore, Dingyadi said the ministry, through its Labour Inspectorate Department and the Tripartite Industrial Relations Framework, had intensified efforts to ensure that private sector organizations complied with the provisions of the Labour Act and related employment standards. The government's drive for fair labour practice came just as Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC) raised concern over an alleged move to strip workers of their constitutional right to belong to unions of their choice. Responding to a bill in the National Assembly titled Special Economic Zone Laws, NLC President Joe Ajaero accused sponsors of the bill of seeking to ambush Nigerian workers and strip them of their constitutionally granted right to freedom of association. The representative of the International Labour Organization, Pius Odo, also speak on workers' rights.
The Ministry of Labour and Employment views casualization not only as a labour relations issue, but also a developmental concern. The workforce that lacks job security cannot plan for the future or invest in education or contribute meaningfully to the social security systems. Therefore, addressing casualization is central to our pursuit of social justice and inclusive growth. The Federal Ministry of Labour and Employment, working through the Labour Inspectorate Department and the Tripartite Industrial Relations Framework, has intensified efforts to ensure compliance with the provisions of the Labour Act and the related employment standards. We are engaging with employers, including private employment agencies, to regularize non-standard employment arrangements and promoting collective bargaining mechanisms that balance.
Today, the rights of Nigerian workers are under a reckless and undemocratic siege from the hollow chambers of the National Assembly. We are witnessing a two-pronged attack designed to strip workers of their power and their patrimony. First, there is a sinister attempt by the Senate to amend the NSITF and ECA Acts. This is nothing but a brazen attempt to capture the fund and divert it from its sacred purpose of protecting injured workers and their families to using it for political ends. This fund is the lifeblood of worker solidarity, contributed for workers. It is not a slush fund for politicians, and we will resist this criminal appropriation with the very fiber of our being.
Flexibility with fairness.
The ILO believes that decent work is the most effective route out of poverty. But for this to happen, governments must be able to mobilize and allocate resources in ways that prioritize the needs of workers, especially those in vulnerable and informal employment.
Speaking earlier, acting chairman of LACAN, Patrick Abulu, said the theme of the conference had become necessary in order to find domestic solutions to Nigeria's problems and the resources to fund them.
Our discussions in these next few hours will therefore focus on innovative and equitable strategies for domestic resource mobilization through fair taxation, efficient governance, and a deliberate channeling of national resources towards human capital development and social protection.
In their goodwill messages, other stakeholders reiterated that no worker who contributes to national wealth should be left to suffer alone, especially those whose misfortune strikes in the line of duty.
There is an old Nigerian saying that goes, when the roof of one house catches fire, the smoke spares no neighbor. This proverb reminds us that injury to one worker is danger to all, that every unsafe rig, every neglected platform, every unremitted contribution to the employees' compensation scheme threatens not just a worker's life, but the integrity of our entire labor ecosystem.
The second edition of LACAN Annual Conference had the theme Improving Internal Resource Mobilization for Financing Anti-Poverty and Inequality Interventions in Nigeria. Imefono Kon reporting for Clever News.